Just a reminder.
Okay, there we go. We had a workshop last weekend with someone from England and it was recorded. And then, but she forgot to stop it during all of our chit chat at the break, so we can all revisit our chit chats. Anyways, thank you. I'm Laura Nisi, and now I can't see most of you, but I do see some other members from the Minneapolis Modern Quilt Guild on the call, including my co-president, Carrie Phillips. Yay, hey Carrie. So I'm gonna do a little slideshow about modern quilts, the modern quilt movement, those are my quotes, and then the guilds, the national and our local guild. So some of what I'm going to show you, you may be familiar with, and I apologize. I'm going to just do a brief, I'm going to do an overview, and we'll just hope that it's not too, where's my thing? I just pulled it up before we started here. We'll hope that it's not too basic for you. Excuse me for 1 second. I want to make sure that I know what I have. I had it pulled up. Where is it? There it is. Okay. So what I'm hoping when I do share is that you're going to see something with a colorful quilt. Do you see that?
Yes.
Oh, good. It's the right screen. Okay. I've got to just say okay to everything. And I'm going to do it like this. So okay, using my son's mouse, so we're also going to cross our fingers that it behaves. So I'm Laura Nisi. I'm just going to talk about the look of modern quilts, the movement, and the guild, the modern quilt guilds. That quilt right there is not mine. It's Tara Fonin, someone I admire. It's called The Spaces in Between. So, you know, we used to go to Webster's. Now I think we go to Wikipedia to tell us what things are. So according to Wikipedia, modern quilting follows an aesthetic style drawing from other modern styles like architecture, art, and design, using the traditional quilt making techniques that we all know and love. It says modern quilts are different from art quilts in that they are meant to be used. I know you all spoke with contemporary quilters Thursday, so I'm not sure how if they make that distinction. Wikipedia tells us that modern quilts are influenced by the quilters of Gee's Bend, Amish quilts, Nancy Crow, Denise Schmidt, Gwen Marston, Yoshiko Jinzenji, Bill Karen Weeks Ringel. So we're going to look briefly at a few of those influences, which most of you probably already know, if I can figure out how to do this. There we go. So here's a Gee's Bend quilt, Lucy Mingo. Here's, we all know and love the Amish, simple design, intricate quilting, bright colors in this one. This is a not very good resolution picture from a quilt of Nancy Crow, who is a legitimate artist and quilter. This is Denise Schmidt. You'll hear a little bit more about her in 1 minute. This is her freewheeling single girl, which is her answer to the double wedding ring, which I think is kind of cute. This is Gwen Marston, and she passed away, I want to say 2020, maybe 2019. This is, I can't say it, of course, Yoshiko Jinzenji, very minimal. And this is Bill Karen Weeks Ringel. So if you haven't seen any of those influences before, I know you've seen the Amish and Gee's Bend. Those are some of what Wikipedia tells us influenced the modern quilt look. So the movement, what is the modern quilt movement? Okay. It's a growing community of makers, started on Flickr, which still exists, but I think Instagram is now the main kind of driver, social media wise. It's an international network of guilds, many belonging to the Modern Quilt Guild, which is lovingly called the Mothership. A growing group of quilt celebrities and influencers, that's your Instagram thing again, offering quilt-alongs, lectures, classes, and workshop. And when I wrote this, which was almost a year ago when I researched it, a 20% share and possibly more of the $4 billion quilt industry. So, and that's QuiltCon, which we'll talk about in a minute. So the modern quilt movement, and often I put quotes in this, you saw Denise Schmidt's freewheeling single girl quilt. So Martha Stewart highlighted Denise Schmidt in 1998. And, you know, Martha Stewart in 1998 was, if she said it, we all did it. So she kind of launched this in a strange way, talking about Denise Schmidt's work. In 2005, Bill Kerr and Weeks Ringel, who are from Chicago, published a book, The Modern Quilt Workshop. They have a website that I believe has that name. And then the Flickr group, Fresh Modern Quilts, was started in 2008. And in 2009, Alyssa Hay Carlton and Latifa Safir started the Modern Quilt Guild. Interestingly, a whole lot of other modern quilt guilds were springing up around that time, including ours, the Minneapolis Modern Quilt Guild. But it took a while for everyone to kind of meet together and be under the umbrella of the Modern Quilt Guild. And there's reasons for that that are very helpful. So this is Polka Dot Fox by Latifa Safir, one of the founders of the international, what is now the International Organization. So the Modern Quilt Guild, this is what they say are the characteristics of a modern quilt: bold colors and prints, high contrast and graphic areas of solids, improvisational piecing, minimalism, expansive negative space, and alternate grid work. So, okay, that's fine. Let's figure out how modern is modern. We're going to look at each one of the characteristics and see how modern we really are. So here's bold color and prints. On the left is a Gee's Bend quilt, and on the right is a modern quilt from the modern quilt movement. So 1975 to 2015. High contrast and graphic areas of solid color. Here's another Gee's Bend quilt, Pigs in a Pen. I love this. 1970, and here's Red Concentrate. These are all the modern quilts that I pulled are, I want to say they were winners at different quilt cons in different divisions. So that's pretty similar, right? Improvisational piecing. Our beloved crazy quilts. Here's one from 1910, and this amazing scattered quilt from 2017. And here's minimalism. Here's another Gee's Bend medallion, and then this peach quilt from 2020. And I think, yep, expansive negative space. Here's, we're not sure, 1900 to 1920, so turn of the last century. And then from 2015, boats, boats, boats. And I think this is my last slide on this, alternate grid work, 1942 and 2020. So if you're interested in how the modern quilts of today meet the modern quilts of yesterday, there is an exhibit now in Lincoln, Nebraska, and with an online presence, the International Quilt Museum. So that's kind of a fun thing to see. There's a lot more examples, and I'm very interested in how everything old is new again, and things cycle. And we do call ourselves the Modern Quilt Guild, and there is a modern quilt, quote unquote, movement, but clearly we're standing on the shoulders of those who have come before us in thinking differently about quilts. So I said we were going to pause. Does anyone have any questions at the moment before I talk about the next part, which is the guilds? I didn't look at chat.
I'm not seeing any in chat
Okay.
right now, Laura. So if anybody has a question, maybe unmute yourself and ask.
And if not, that's okay too. All right, I'll go back to sharing my screen. And I have no idea how long this is going to take. It's not going to take the length of time so that you all would have. So that's good. I took out a lot because I was like, what if I go over? That'll be not good. All right, let's make sure. All right, is that back for you all?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, so if I go to the next one. So now we'll talk about modern guilds, which is I think what you really wanted to learn about, but I had to do a little preface. I told you that in 2009, the Modern Quilt Guild was founded in LA. Now there are more than 200 guilds that are under the umbrella of the Modern Quilt Guild and 16,000 members. So what does that mean for us, the Minneapolis Modern Quilt Guild? It means largely that we have support of them. Our members are members of the Modern Quilt Guild, so access to a lot of resources on their website and their magazine and all their webinars. Very importantly, we enjoy 501c3 status under their umbrella, which is a nice thing because we didn't have to do it on our own. And it's a really great network. So we've met other guilds now and done some virtual sew-ins and some swaps. And we just joined officially the mothership in, gosh, Carrie, I think it was the end of 2020. As you know, the years don't mean anything. And the big thing about the Modern Quilt Guild is that they present Quilt Con, which is the largest modern quilt show in the world. And it is in Phoenix I think we'll be there in 2 weeks, which is exciting. So I want to show you now some of pieces from the Modern Quilt Guild QuiltCon from the last 5 years. And I decided to pull up the best in show of each year and the People's Choice, just for fun, because I thought that's a kind of fun way to look at things. So from 2017, I didn't see this in person. I wish I had this bling. And then was best in show. And then the People's Choice was Lincoln. And I'm pretty sure that that's hanging up at the International Quilt Museum right now in Lincoln, Nebraska. 2018, the best in show, and I saw that one. It was spectacular. It's huge and quilted like beyond belief. Going up, and the People's Choice is She Was Warned. One thing about the modern quilters is they like to make some statements. So you'll definitely see some statements if you ever go to QuiltCon. 2019 Smile was the best to show. This Be Social group is a really they're a group of I think mostly women across the country, and they do improv bees every year. And then the People's Choice separated. So 2020, this Starring You, the best in show, that was a huge quilt by Peter Byrne, kind of catapulted him to some quilt celebrity status. And the People's Choice Bob, that was my pick. That was her grandson's drawing. She's got a really whimsical style, Patty Kopuck. I like her a lot. And then last year was a virtual Quilt Con. So no one saw anything in person, and I think some will be there this year. Best in show, I would love to see that in person, is Blooming. And then this People's Choice was the mid-century modern architecture. I think it was another, is a group quilt. So now we get to about us. We're going from the biggest of the whole modern quilt movement as a whole to the big Modern Quilt Guild to us. We are an inclusive community of modern quilters. We were started in 2010. This is my second line is mine. I believe that our guild, our members define modern, not really a style, but an attitude. One of our new members said, how do I know if my quilts are modern enough to be in your guild? And I was like, well, If you like us and you have fun hanging out with us, that's really what matters. So we are an affiliate of the Modern Quilt Guild. We typically meet the third Thursday. Occasionally we switch that up if schedules dictate. We used to meet at the Textile Center, and now, like everyone else, we're on Zoom, which has been honestly kind of great. We now have about 125 members. This is a map of where we are. So up to Superior, Wisconsin, over past Eau Claire, down into Iowa, and up to St. Cloud. That was not true before Zoom. So when we start thinking about what happens next, it's a pretty big question, as I'm sure you all know as well. Our board, myself and Carrie, who's on Zoom, our co-presidents, yay. Jane Lotz is our secretary, Barbara Bourne is our treasurer, Christy Visser does our website, lucky girl and lucky woman, lucky lady, and Susan, who I think is on here, and Amber are doing programs this year. So that's a little bit about us. What do we do? Well, we have meetings, and because of Zoom, we've been able to have a lot of really great speakers. Sometimes we'll have a themed meeting, like we just had Scrappy New Year last month. Some of our meetings are social, like the December when we had our virtual potluck. We do some community outreach charities sometime during our meetings. And of course, we have show and tell, everyone's fave. Events and activities. We actually, a bunch of us are online right now on a Zoom doing our Get Up and Sew, which is the first Saturday. Group has started every Tuesday night sew-ins. We've been doing Zoom retreats 2 times a year around themes. Last year we had summer meetups, and we're going to do the same this year. And workshops, we just did one last Saturday with Jenny Haynes. And we love our challenges and swaps. So we're in the middle of a whisper challenge, which Kathy Simon Frank, who I know I saw her on this earlier, kind of helped us launch. So that's an exciting one. I'm looking forward to seeing that because everyone's sworn to secrecy, no social media posts. Okay, and then I wanted to show you all some work from our members, and there's no real rhyme or reason to this other than I went through some of our show and tells and pulled some stuff that I thought gave a good breadth. This is me. No, I didn't put my name on there. Oh no, there I am. This is me. This is Mary. Those are her siblings. This is Karen. She's one of our members who does a lot of designs. I don't think this is her own design, but I think this was all done from her stash, which is impressive. This is Jane, our secretary, who also works at Twin Cities Quilting. If you ever go in there I think she works, yeah, I'm not sure. Fridays. This is her daughter, Zoe. Jane's daughter, Zoe, does these wonderful applique pictures, really. This is Pat. And this now is with her exchange student from Sweden. It was their wedding gift. This is Brenda, who I know you all know. Your show director. This is Amber, one of our program folks. Amber makes a lot of quilts. I'm not sure how she does it. This is Rebecca. This is her Plague Doctor mask. It won the blue ribbon at the fair in the quilted garments last year. This is Lucy, and I know she spoke to you all a couple months ago. And this is Sherry. This hung at QuiltCon. And this is Lois. This is a mini. It's hard to, I didn't put the sizes on here because I couldn't find them consistently, but this is a mini, and it's just quite lovely and quiet. This is Carrie. This So one of the things we did last year is we collaborated with Lovely Sewing and Arts Collective and made this unity quilt together. So Lovely's is a place that teaches youth sewing and yoga, and more than youth, actually. She's got a mobile sewing unit now, which is really fun. But our members and her students created this international sister block together, and it's been quilted. I'm not sure if it's bound. Carrie can tell us later where it is, but hopefully we can put it in the show up in St. Cloud so everyone can see it. And then this is our Quilt Con. So every year at Quilt Con, they give guilds the opportunity to design something around a theme and with a prescribed color palette. And this year's theme was angles, and we started talking about protractors. And then the protractors kind of became funny, goofy clocks. And then we came up with this protracted pandemic pandemonium, because it's a protracted pandemic and we've lost all sense of time, which has caused pandemonium. And I believe that is that for me. So I'm going to stop this so I can see you all again. It's very unnerving. And okay, what size are the quilts? Thanks, Susan, for answering this. Yeah, if you join MMQG, you're immediately a member of the MQG. You can join MQG separately, and it's a tiny bit less expensive than just joining us, but for sure. Those quilts are all sizes from 24 inches to bed size. And I apologize for not putting those. Oh, Decora, hi, Decora. Not putting those in. I didn't have access to them. So yeah. So that's kind of us in that's not bad, 25 minutes. Okay. Could have gone longer, but wanted to give y'all time for your show and tell and chit-chatting and whatnot. Let's see, does anyone else have questions?
I was going to mention, Bob, that quilt you showed Bob by Patty Kopic.
Yeah.
If any of you members are members of Chaska Quilt Club, Patty used to live here and she was a friend of mine way back. So she's got a real fun Facebook page to follow, her quilt process. And those are drawings that her grandchildren did.
I love that so much.
And I guess they made socks out of Bob last year for the show for people to purchase.
Oh, is that right? Oh, that's funny. Hopefully they'll be there this year in Phoenix. Oh, thanks, Jude. Yeah, we do too. I could have gone on and on with member quilts. We have right now we have the wall at the textile center. We have it for 2 months, and the last 2 years have switched it halfway through. Right now it's $40, Marianne. And yes, so I'm looking at Carolyn. So Carolyn asks the found fabrics. That I think we're going to see this year at QuiltCon. That is becoming a huge new thing. Not a new thing. Again, everything old is new again. A big thing, especially as people get not interested, especially as people double down on the environmental concerns and the waste and the cost of making fabric. And so, yeah, that's going to be a big thing. We have in our March meeting, Laura Wenstrom, who's a Minneapolis artist and quilter, she uses a lot of, she upcycles a lot of materials. So yes, that is going to be a big new thing, which the quilt shops probably won't love, but there's plenty of people still wanting to buy fabric. Patty Kopic, right? I'm going to put that in.
Yeah, I just am in the process of writing it now. So
tell me if I spelled that right.
Patty. Okay. I was just writing it too. So I think.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Yeah. Anyone else want to chat or anything? I'm on the spotlight, I feel. Carrie, Susan, Wynn, Kathy, anyone else from our guild who's on this Zoom? Do you all have anything you want to add?
Laura, I will. I just want to say that it's been really fun for me to see both programs, the one on Thursday and this one. I belong to all three guilds. I get value from all three guilds, and it is really fun to see the collection of work from some of your members. I just think that it's interesting to see exactly what you're saying, that what's old comes back again. And I love that aspect of quilting. And, you know, modern looks very different until you start looking closely at it and you see the echo. And it's really a nice thing. Plus, the whole group the people that I've met at the modern group have been really fun to meet.
Well, that's good. I do think that Zoom, I don't know how you all feel, but I do think that Zoom, I don't know how the G's Ben Quilts got ID'd as modern. And, you know, okay, there's two things on that. And then I want to go back to, Carrie, can you put the guild, thank you, Susan. Two things. One about Zoom. It's been strange that Zoom has helped us a lot. I mean, it's helped our reach. I don't know how you all have found it to be, but it's helped our connections too, because we can't sit in our usual groups of 2 to 3 to 4 and just chit chat amongst ourselves. We're kind of forced. We all have our equal space on the screen, and it's been really kind of fun and weirdly intimate, given that it's not at all intimate. But the G's Bend, and who decided they were modern? I mean, without stepping into stuff too much, it's interesting, and I think people have talked about this, that, you know, a lot of people kind of took this G's Bend community and kind of ran with it, and maybe didn't realize we were co-opting something. And now there is a foundation that helps them financially and whatnot, because, you know, did we steal their ideas? No. Were we vastly inspired and started a huge thing over them? Yes, we did. So that's my little thought. Any other questions? Thank you, Susan, for putting up our MinneapolisMQG.com. Yep. That's pretty much us.
Any other questions for Laura?
Well, I have a question. I thought I typed it in, but apparently not.
Oh.
I was just wondering, are modern quilts restricted to solid color fabric?
No, I mean, here's the thing. It's in the eye of the beholder, and we have quite a few members who I think their quilts are more traditional than modern, but we all hang out together. I mean, now, will your quilt get accepted to QuiltCon if it uses, let's say, like, I don't know, reproduction Civil War? I mean, probably not, but does that really matter? No, right? So I don't mean to be so flippant about this, but I think there are no rules, and I think the rules are always changing. So I think it's an attitude, really. Yeah, anyone in our guild want to weigh in on that one?
I have a question. What
Yeah.
are the categories for exhibit at QuiltCon?
Oh, okay, that's a great one. It'll be improvisation. I'm going to pull it up on my screen if I can't think of it. Improvisation, I know. Improvisational piecing, I know, is one. Quilting is one. Hand quilting is one. Okay, applique, handwork. One of our members won the handwork for this. I should have showed that. Why didn't I? This English paper piece quilt she did, that she won 2 last year. Minimalist design is one. Modern traditionalism is one, which is kind of one of my favorites to see. Piecing is one. Use of negative space is one. Small quilts is one. And group and B quilts is one. And then they'll have challenges each year, like they had a artisan cotton fabric challenge this year. But the standard ones are applique, are the ones I talked about: applique, piecing, modern traditionalism, improv. And there are sub ones within those. Quilting excellence, best in show, of course. So and People's Choice.
Okay, any other questions? If not, thank you so much. Been
Thank
a great
you.
program.
Thank you.
And then we'll move on to the next segment of our meeting. We'll have announcements.